Last week, Draymond Green decided to choose violence yet again by swinging at Jusuf Nurkic. The two were jockeying for position, and pretty simple concept when Jusuf Nurkic is just simply playing defense. It somehow triggered Draymond Green to not only just swipe, but close-handed fists to Jusuf Nurkic's face. Immediately upon replay, pretty clear it's a flagrant 2 foul. He's ejected third time this season, and he is suspended for the third time this calendar year if you want to count that Domantas Sabonis stomp to his chest in the postseason run in April's playoffs. There's a lot to dissect here. A collection of countless malicious acts on Draymond Green, and I think this is finally the act that puts him under such negative light, because I've been on this platform again and again about how selfish he is. There's this weird narrative circulating around about how Draymond's recent acts of violence should have garnished some type of empathy, sympathy. He's going through something. While that may be the case, even in the slightest, it doesn't change the fact that this guy's been doing malicious, violent acts on a basketball court for years. I mean, 2016, the suspension in the NBA Finals wasn't simply just due to that swipe at LeBron's groin, right? Remember, he swiped and kicked Steven Adams 2 times in the same series against the OKC Thunder, and then in another series against the Portland Trailblazers, he simply upended a Trailblazers player there to get another flagrant foul point there. Fast forward to so many things. There are threads of questionable acts that Draymond Green has done. They're just not basketball plays, and people are coming to his defense saying that what he's done right now is nothing to what you've seen in the 90s. That's may or may not be true. I've seen players in the 90s simply launch themselves. In the 80s, we saw Julius Erving punch Larry Bird. There's been countless fights and brawls that's happened. I mean, the NBA has changed since the Malice of the Palace back in 2004, when we saw Ron Artest at the time go up into the stands and simply punch countless fans in Detroit. And the NBA wants to steer clear of that type of violence, especially when players are interacting with fans. But this is simply a time when one particular player is going after countless other opposing players. And it doesn't take a lot to get him off what he's supposed to be doing as a player. He is known as the enforcer. He's meant to bring physicality, but he bends and stretches those rules to its capacity and sometimes goes over the line. And it's beginning to catch up to Draymond, because now players are not only just fighting back, but they're talking about it in the media, post-game press conferences. I mean, the fact that Jusuf Nurkic is saying, "I'm glad I didn't get choked," is saying so many things about what Draymond is as a player and also a person. I mean, we talk about the NBA being a brotherhood, correct? Where you guys have each other's back, you're a teammate. Well, Draymond didn't have his teammates back. He punched Jordan Poole in the face after simply calling him out on something that I think is fairly valid in practice. He has gone through countless things where he has been violent or malicious against opposing players, and that has costed the Warriors. I mean, 3 big events have been the downfall due to Draymond Green. The greatest team ever assembled in 2016, undone by Draymond's acts of violence. Their greatest free agent signing in 2019, Kevin Durant, he left the Golden State Warriors because Draymond called him a bitch to his face in front of countless other fans and on national TV. Just last year, he punched Jordan Poole in the face, and that upset the young core that the Warriors are trying to extend this dynasty that now just seems on the brink of elimination, because they are not even sniffing the play-in tournament at this point. These acts are just consistently being where he's proving to show lack of self-control. We have seen so many times where if something were to happen, even unwarranted, can trigger Draymond to do things that are beyond basketball plays. And I think now that players are speaking up about it in the media and it's garnished so much attention, it's finally shedding into light that Draymond needs some help. I've said this, Draymond, go to therapy. Some people think it's a joke, but I think therapy and counseling that the NBA has now installed in this type of rehabilitation process in order for him to be brought back or reinstated back into the association is beneficiary. Until some counselor certifies that Draymond is not going to commit these acts, I think that's fair to say, and at least at a minimum as of this recording, he's suspended for 3 weeks. That will take him into the beginning of January before he's even considered to be reinstated. Even so, I think the leash has to be tight on Draymond's reinstatement. There has to be tentative, because if there's even remotely a malicious act, now if there's a hard foul, let's say somebody's going up for a basket and Draymond is sliding over to protect the rim, and it's a hard foul that warrants a flagrant 2, that is an ejection, even a flagrant 1 in certain circumstances. I think those cases are fine. That's something there Draymond should not be banned or suspended permanently from the league. But if he's able to do anything remotely to what we've seen, hurt somebody, punch somebody, kick somebody, claw somebody's eye out, he has to be banned. There is no way of coming back from that. Adam Silver, from the minute he's entered the league as head commissioner, he dealt with the Donald Sterling case, immediately banned him for life. And I think something might be done to Draymond if he commits some of these other acts similar to what he's done based on his track record, because the track record is becoming a novel. Let's face it, these acts are piling up, his reputation is on the line, and frankly, his legacy is on the line too. We know that Dennis Rodman, Bill Laimbeer, historically dirty players, but they did get it done, and at the end of the day, we're also good teammates. Now, were they nearly as talented as Draymond? I think maybe Dennis Rodman as a defensive player, great talent there, and one of the most ferocious rebounders. Was his head always in basketball? No, but when it came time to it, he did show up in 5 NBA finals and contribute to countless rings there. So Draymond, as much as we like what he can do on the basketball court as a defensive player, a leader, that tough, hard-nosed player, him as a person is quite selfish, and I'm finally glad that the broader spectrum of NBA media is finally realizing who he is. But I'm hoping that Draymond gets some help and just turns it around as a human being and as a teammate to the Golden State Warriors.